Namaste dear children, I am Rekha. Welcome to my channel Rekha's Knowledge Hub. Today we will see NCERT Classic Science Chapter 10 Living Creatures Exploring Their Characteristics Part 4. Today we will see summary and exercise. Summary. The objects around us can be categorized into two types, living and non-living. So, the objects around us can be classified into two, living and non-living. The essential features of living beings are that they move, eat, grow, breathe, excrete, respond to stimuli, reproduce and die. Absence of any of these features indicates that they are not living beings. So, what are the characteristics of living beings? Living beings can move, eat, grow, breathe, excrete, respond to stimuli, reproduce, and die. Each living being goes through several stages during its life. Living beings go through several stages during their lives. This series of stages is called a life cycle. It is a continuous process of growth, development, reproduction, and eventually death. Germination of seeds depends upon the availability of water, air, and suitable light and or dark conditions. Germination depends upon many factors. Availability of water, air, then suitable light or dark conditions. During germination of seeds, roots generally grow downwards while shoots grow upwards. Roots grow downwards and shoots grow upwards. A plant's life cycle starts with the seed germination, followed by several stages of its growth and development. This includes flowering and seed production. Seeds produced during their life cycle would germinate into new plants and the cycle continues. The life cycle often begins with a seed. When the seed gets the right conditions, water, warmth, and sometimes light, it germinates. Then the seedling grows into a mature plant. Most plants reproduce, which usually involves flowers. Then, once the seeds are mature, they need to be spread away from the parent plant to avoid overcrowding. This can happen through wind, water, animals, etc. When a seed lands in a suitable place, it can germinate and start the whole cycle again. The life cycle of an animal as a result of reproduction begin with a newborn that undergoes various stages of growth and development, followed by an adult stage and finally death. The process of reproduction maintains the continuity of its kind. The life cycle of an animal begins with a newborn and this undergoes various stages of growth and development. Once mature, animals are capable of reproduction, creating offspring. As animal gets older, their bodies may start to decline in function. This is the aging process. And the final stage is death, the end of an animal's life. Mosquitoes pass through the stages of egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The life stages of a frog includes eggs, tadpoles, froglets, and adults. So, mosquitoes pass through the stages of egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Then, frogs pass through the stages of eggs, tadpoles, froglets, and adults. In some living beings, such as mosquitoes and frogs, significant changes occur during the various stages of their life cycle. These changes can be seen in body shape, structure, and sometimes even in the habitat. Let us enhance our learning. List the similarities and differences in life cycle of plants and animals. First, we will see the similarities in life cycles of plants and animals. First one is growth. Both plants and animals grow from a young stage to an adult stage. Then, next similarity is reproduction. So, growth, reproduction. Then, reproduction means both plants and animals reproduce to create more of their own kind. Then life stages, what about their life stages? Both have distinct stages in their life cycle, such as birth or germination, then youth, adulthood, old age, then finally death. These are the similarities in life cycles of plants and animals. What are the differences in life cycles of plants and animals? First difference is movement. Animals can usually move around freely. What about plants? Plants are generally rooted in one place. So, animals can move freely. Plants are generally rooted in one place. That is about movement. Then next, food. Animals get their food by eating other living things, while plants make their own food through photosynthesis. So, animals get their food by eating other living things. Plants make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. The next one, growth. Plants can often grow continuously throughout their lives, while animals usually stop growing when they reach adulthood. These are the differences in life cycles of plants and animals. The table shows some data. Study the data and try to find out examples appropriate for the conditions given in the second and third columns. If you think that an example for any of the conditions given below is not possible, explain why. See first one. Does it grow? No. Does it respire? No. Can you say an example? Rock. Why? It is a non-living thing, so it does not grow. It does not respire. Next one. Does it grow? No. Does it respire? Yes. Can you say an example? Dormant seed. There is no visible growth, but it respires. Then, does it grow? Yes. Does it respire? No. Can you say an example? Crystals. Crystals, they grow by accumulating minerals, but cannot respire. Then, next one, does it grow? Yes. Does it respire? Yes. Humans, they are living beings. You have learned that different conditions are required for seed germination. How can we use this knowledge for proper storage of grains and pulses? So, we know that water, temperature, then air, sometimes light, etc. are the important conditions needed for seed germination. Our question is, how can we use this knowledge for proper storage of grains and pulses? Store grains and pulses in a cool, dry place with low humidity. This prevents them from absorbing moisture from the air, which can trigger germination. See, moisture will trigger germination. So, we have to store grains and pulses in a cool, dry place with a low humidity. Then, use airtight containers to further limit moisture exposure. Using airtight containers reduces the amount of oxygen available, which can slightly slow down respiration and help prevent germination. We have to use airtight containers to store grains and pulses. This will reduce the amount of oxygen available. So, this will slow down respiration and help to prevent germination. Then avoid extreme heat. Keep pulses and grains away from direct sunlight, stoves, or other heat sources. You have learned that a tail is present in a tadpole, but it disappears as it grows into a frog. What is the advantage of having a tail In the tadpole stage, we have learned that a tail is present in a tadpole, but when it grows into a frog, this tail will disappear. Then what is the advantage of having a tail in the tadpole stage? Tadpoles, they live entirely in water. The tail acts as a powerful propeller, enabling them to swim effectively. Okay, so this is the important use of tail in tadpole. Tadpoles live entirely in water. So this tail will act as a powerful propeller. So they can swim easily. This allows them to find food, avoid being eaten by predators like fish, insects or other aquatic animals. Then it also helps to find suitable habitats. Tadpoles may need to move to find warmer areas, shallower water or places with more food. Charan says that a wooden log is a non-living as it cannot move. Charu counters it by saying that it is living because it is made of wood obtained from trees. Give your arguments in favor or against the two statements given by Charan and Charu. Charan says that a wooden log is a non-living thing. Is it correct? Yes, the statement is correct. Why? Because wooden log is non-living. It does not grow, reproduce or respire. It is a non-living thing. Then what Charu said? Charu said that it is a living thing. Why? Because it is made of wood obtained from trees. Is it correct? Charu's view. What about Charu's view? It is incorrect. Why? Because the log itself is no longer living. Log itself is no longer living. Just because something came from something living doesn't mean it is still living. For example, a wooden chair is made from a tree, but the chair itself is not alive. What are the similarities and distinguishing features in the life cycles of a mosquito and a frog? First, we will see the similarities in the life cycles of a mosquito and a frog. Both begin their lives as eggs laid in water or moist environments. This is the first similarity. Both begin their lives as eggs laid in water or some moist environments. Both grow and develop through distinct stages, each adapted to their specific needs. So, they grow and develop through different stages. Then, what are the distinguishing features in the life cycles of a mosquito and a frog? What about the life cycle of a mosquito? What are the different stages? Egg, larva, pupa, then adult mosquito. Then what about a frog? Egg, then tadpole, froglet, then adult frog. A plant is provided with all the conditions suitable for its growth. Draw what you expect to see in the shoot and the root of the plant after 1 week. Write down the reasons. See a pot kept along the ground. You can see a pot kept along the ground in this picture. And this plant is provided with all the conditions suitable for its growth. Then, what do you expect to see in the shoot and root of the plant after 1 week? The roots. What about roots? Roots grow downward due to gravity, geotropism. Then, what about shoots? Shoots will bend upwards away from the horizontal and towards the light source. This is due to phototropism. Okay. So roots continue to grow downwards due to gravity, that is geotropism, and shoots will bend upwards away from the horizontal and towards the light source. This is phototropism. Tara and Vijay set up the experiment shown in the picture figure 10.10. What do you think they want to find out? How will they know if they are correct? See, there is an experimental setup by Tara and Vijay. What do you think they want to find out? Tara and Vijay are trying to understand how the orientation of a seed affects the growth direction of the shoot and root. How the orientation of a seed affects the direction of growth of root and shoot. See, how will they know if they are correct? Observation over time. They need to observe the seedlings over several days or a week and record the growth patterns. They have to observe the seedlings for around 1 week and they have to record the growth patterns. Then, what are the key indicators? What about the root growth direction? The roots of all seedlings, regardless of their starting position, should eventually grow downwards. In all of these pictures, the roots of all seedlings, regardless of their starting position, they eventually start growing downwards. Then what about shoot growth direction? The shoots of all seedlings should grow upwards towards light against the direction of gravity. The shoots, they begin to grow upwards towards light against the direction of gravity. Design an experiment to check if temperature has an effect on seed germination. So, we have to design an experiment to check if temperature has an effect on seed germination. See, we need some materials, 3 identical containers, seeds, soil, thermometer. Then procedure, place the pots in warm, cool and normal room temperature respectively. Maintain moisture, check the containers daily and add water as needed. So we have to maintain moisture. Then observe and record. Observe the seeds daily for signs of germination. Then what conclusion we will get? Based on our observation, we can conclude how temperature affects seed germination. We should be able to identify the temperature range that is most favorable for the germination of seeds we used. Because different seeds, they require different temperature for germination. Children, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. We will see in the next video. Thank you.